Arabian Nights. No, that wasn't a good one.
No, that was horrible. I don't think there's a way that you do it, though, that's gonna be good.
Yeah, probably true. Anyway, welcome to From Vinyl to Viral. I'm Wes Zennial, and I'm joined today by my favorite co-host in the world.
Hi, I'm Veruca, Gen Z daughter, Taylor Swift fanatic, and ready to talk about some Disney princesses today.
We're going to talk about Disney, sole topic today. First, we're going to talk a little bit about Disney in general, and then in the crossover, I got to watch Princess and the Frog, and
I got to watch Aladdin.
we're going to talk about those, what they mean to us, and how the different generations view it. All right, Veruca, you want to start us off on Disney?
What's there to say specifically?
There's lots to say about Disney. It was a big part of your childhood.
Yeah, huge part of my childhood. Honestly, looking back on it now, I feel Disney, when I was a kid, seemed like it was gonna be part of everybody's
Right.
childhood, and it was part of everybody's childhood prior to me, it seemed. But now looking back on it, it has like died out so much. Gen Z was peak era for Disney Channel too,
Mm-hmm.
and I always thought that that was gonna stick around forever, and so it's crazy to see how they kind of lost it along the
Well,
way.
I got a story which is kind of crazy when I was thinking about this podcast.
Mhm.
I was in fifth grade. I remember it clear as day, and I can even tell you the teacher's name, but I won't. It was brought up in class at the time about Bambi,
Okay.
about something that happens in Bambi.
Like, the characters dying?
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Okay.
I think it actually was a Thumper reference, but
Oh, okay.
doesn't matter. And I said I'd never seen Bambi because
Mm.
I didn't grow up in that kind of household that watched movies and all this stuff
Yeah.
for sure. And I was like by the
Really?
teacher, of course, other kids, but
The
even the
teacher is
teacher,
crazy.
yeah, the teacher was like, "Oh, well, what?" And she was very serious. And just she started asking me about some other ones, some I had seen, mostly because they would show them at like school convocations. Every quarter, we would have a movie day or something.
Oh, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. And so that's how I watched the original Herbie,
Mhm.
Mary Poppins,
Mhm.
Phantasma, several things like that. So you're right, because for growing up, for me, the Disney thing wasn't a thing. You know, I grew up lower income and
Mhm.
we didn't have Disney Channel or anything like that. Maybe later when I was a
Yeah.
teenager, and then it was all about MTV for me anyway. But I know you were complete opposite almost.
Mm.
You had it from day one. You've been to Disney World. How
Mhm.
many times?
Multiple times. I don't even know how
You've
many.
been to Disneyland Paris.
Mhm.
So growing up, it was neat to kind of bring that to you. Do you think Disney, though, had a huge impact on the world as a whole? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say that's true. For sure. I mean, I think it's changed the way that even movies outside of children's movies are made,
Yeah.
especially, of course, so, yeah, for sure.
And definitely, I mean, and now we're not going to get into it, but they've also gotten bigger, of course, with their acquisitions of the Marvel universe and the
Mhm.
Lucasfilm Star Wars
Yeah.
universe and ABC and ESPN, of course, now and everything.
Mhm.
But we want to stay what I call the kind of core Disney. Even
Mhm.
though when I think core Disney, I'm thinking back to my day when you had Mickey's Christmas Carol and stuff like that, and actual cartoons with Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy,
Mm.
Pluto, Goofy.
Okay.
But in your era, it's more Disney TV.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to Disney in my era, and I mean, there's also Pixar, which I think
Mm.
there's a debate of whether or not that's core Disney with Cars and Toy Story, Bugs Life, those type of movies. I would say generationally speaking, they're more core Disney. I think they had the same effect as some of the Disney princess type movies, but also Disney Channel was so essential to my
Mhm.
childhood and Gen Z in general.
Um, what was your favorite show growing up on Disney Channel?
Oh, that's so
Because
hard to
I'm
say. A first one that comes to mind is Phineas and Ferb, and because still today, I still watch Phineas and Ferb episodes, and they also came out with a new season
season,
as
yeah.
well. I watched that.
Everybody loves Phineas and Ferb.
Exactly, everybody loves Phineas and Ferb, and, growing up, I think I probably would have said Good Luck Charlie or Liv and Maddie or, like, Montana if you asked me when I was, like, really young.
Oh, no, I know the answer to this question, and you haven't hit it yet.
Wait, is there oh, maybe Wizards of Waverly
No, no,
Place?
no. There was one you were completely obsessed with more than all the others.
Am I forgetting? Oh,
Yeah,
what?
you're forgetting one.
What?
Shake It Up. Shake
Shake It Up. Shake It Up is such a good one. That's a good point. Bella Thorne and Zendaya.
Yeah,
I remember the effects that Shake It Up had on my childhood is
yeah,
actually
I
crazy.
know, I can't believe you didn't mention it.
I guess I just totally forget because it hasn't been remembered as well as some of the
Yeah.
other shows. Like when people
It
talk
kinda does.
about,
It did fade kind of fade away, and I don't know why, because you
yeah.
Zendaya obviously became such a huge star.
I think Bella Thorne is a little controversial
Well,
now.
sure,
Yeah.
and like I said, Zendaya is a global star.
Yeah. I think it just wasn't as popular with as many people at the time as like Hannah Montana or like Good Luck Charlie was, like there was a very like strong core group of fans for Shake It Up, and I think that's probably why it has
Mm.
died out. But they had literally like clothing lines at Target. I had Shake It Up clothing, and then of course I always like tried to dress as closely to the characters regardless with like the high top, super
Yeah,
super
yeah,
high
yeah.
top Chucks.
The Osiris.
Yeah.
One thing for the listeners, viewers out there, she can't dance.
No, that's actually
That's
so
the best part.
that's so true. You would think
You
that I
weren't
would
even
watch.
into dance, really.
No, I wasn't. That's so true. Yeah, my favorite show growing up was a show all about dancing, and yet I had zero interest really in dancing and also was quite terrible at dancing. I think I really was more into it for the character. You have like Thorne's character, Zendaya's character, they're like best
Rocky
friends.
and
Cece.
Cece and
Yeah,
Rocky.
Cece and Rocky, and then Tina and Gunter, the twins at school, they were very silly. You just have a lot of silly characters, and the fashion was, I think, what especially drew me into.
So what you're saying is you got kind of trapped by the Disney trap of fashion and then selling and
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true.
their product.
Yeah, the capitalism
Yep.
aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably true.
Before that, you watched, I remember this, you wouldn't remember, but you watched the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah, as a real kid, which one now is so crazy because now they have Disney Junior,
Yeah.
which is a whole other thing. I think Disney Junior now is probably more successful even than Disney Channel.
I don't know about that, but
Not like, if you were to compare the numbers right now to the numbers then, but I'm talking about like, right now, Disney Junior is way bigger than Disney Channel.
because I remember the dance on the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah. Hot dog.
Hot dog.
Dog. Yeah. People still do that today.
I know, I was thinking about, like, seeing TikToks of people doing it.
Yeah.
You should do it to show us your moves from Shake It Up Chicago.
No.
I know, yeah, Shake It Up Chicago was really big for you. You were a little younger than would it have been 6th grade, give or take?
Oh, way younger than 6th grade. Because we were living in Florida at the time. I was 3rd grade, I think, when that show came out, and I still watched it probably up until 5th grade, maybe, something like that. But I don't think they were still airing by the time I hit middle school. So I wasn't really watching it.
I barely remember you even being into Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana is so weird because it had such an impact on me. Like, I loved the music. I loved especially the Hannah Montana movie, which has Taylor Swift in it, and Taylor Swift wrote a lot of the music for that movie. I kind of caught the tail end of Hannah Montana. I remember having the DVDs
Yeah, I
and
think you were
stuff.
too young,
But
really.
yeah, I was pretty young, and I remember by the time I really got into Hannah Montana, it was already over. I had the DVDs from when I was really young, and then I kind of went back to them as I got older. I was like, wait, I really like this, but by that time, Hannah Montana was
And
gone.
then, of course, you transitioned into Wizards
Yeah, Wizards.
of Waverly Place,
Mm-hmm.
Selena Gomez,
Mm-hmm.
and then Good Luck Charlie,
Good Luck, Charlie. Yeah.
Camp Rock.
Camp Rock? Yeah, that movie. See, that's your classic Disney Channel because Demi
That is
Lovato.
not classic Disney
Yes,
Channel.
it is.
No.
Yes, it's a Disney Channel movie.
I know, but when I think classic Disney, it is not Camp Rock or Demi Lovato.
Classic Disney Channel.
Okay.
That's what I'd say. Classic Disney Channel. Camp Rock, Princess Protection Program. Princess Diaries, I think I loved that movie series, but it was, I think, a feature film. So
It
not
was.
quite Disney Channel.
And then you had that one show. You were obsessed with it. I don't even know why. One with Debbie Ryan.
Oh, Jessie!
Jessie.
I loved Jessie.
Yeah,
There
Jessie.
are still things today that I reference from Jessie. Like when we were in Vegas, we were at the aquarium and they had one of those big Komodo dragons. And I turned to Mac and I was like, "Oh, Mrs. Kipling." And Elise was like, "Wait, what?"
Did Mac did it?
Yeah, Mac got it.
That's funny. When you're growing up, I actually liked Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah, I know you did.
And I liked, of course, my favorite one that you ever watched was Good Luck Charlie.
Yeah.
Bridget
And I
Mendler.
felt like you watched a lot of Phineas and Ferb too.
Oh yeah, of course, Phineas and Ferb. But can we take a minute and talk about the Queen, Bridget Mendler?
That's, yeah, a moment.
A moment. Seriously, that is so crazy
It is so crazy.
that she was on that show and then she had Lemonade Mouth.
Lemonade Mouth, Good Luck Charlie, and then she also had released some of her own music outside of Disney
Oh,
too.
really?
That was like really popular.
Oh, yeah.
Like Ready or Not.
To have all that going on, and now it turns around, she's literally a rocket scientist.
Yeah, didn't she go to like Harvard, get her
Yeah,
PhD?
she's got a
and stuff?
PhD, and then she's just started this startup. It's insane, insane.
Is she a lawyer too?
I don't know. Actually, she might be, now that you mention, because, but man, yeah, it's wild to me, especially when you frame it with what has happened to a lot of other Disney stars.
Yeah.
For her to be so successful.
Okay, Bridget Mendler graduated from Harvard Law School with a Juris Doctor (JD) degree in May 2024. In addition to her law degree, she is a co-founder and CEO of the satellite data startup Northwood Space. She had also previously pursued a PhD at MIT.
Just insane.
Ridiculous.
Insane. And then you got people, what's my girl's name from Shake It Up? We were just talking about it.
Bella Thorne?
Yeah, and just some of the
you're
other,
talking about
yeah,
like
some of these other past, some of these
opposite way.
children's stars, you know, Amanda Bynes, of course, she was Nickelodeon,
Yeah.
but still same thing.
Yeah, and Miley Cyrus had her moment too. Of course, a Wrecking Ball era.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't
music.
that. And I know that I'm not blaming these kids at all. I know that they're put in terrible situations. All right, let's get off this. We're talking about the happiest place in the world, Walt Disney.
Not the opposite.
Yeah. So move on from that topic of discussion. We'll just jump to the happiest place in the world.
Okay.
Brooke, what's your favorite ride at Walt Disney World?
I would have to say now probably Big Thunder Mountain.
Okay.
But that was definitely not my favorite as a kid.
That's true.
That was not a roller coaster.
Let me tell the audience out there a funny story. We were at Disney World, I think it was Hollywood Studios, and it was Star Wars weekend. We convinced her, really her mom, convinced her to get onto Rock and Roller Coaster. And so we get on Rock and Roller Coaster. For anybody that's never ridden Rock and Roller Coaster, it's an indoor coaster. It stops or starts from a dead stop and shoots you off like 80 miles an hour or something crazy. And then you just start flipping upside down, corkscrewing and everything. And you were young. You were like third grade maybe?
Yeah, 8 or 9 years old.
And she had never ridden anything like this. And I was telling your mom, I don't know about this. And we do it. And I think we were on there maybe 10, 15 seconds after we first shot off. And she didn't even scream. I'm not kidding when I say she went completely catatonic. It was crazy. When we got off of it and everything, you wouldn't speak. You wouldn't do nothing.
Just standing, or did we walk somewhere?
We walked because we walked and we got in line for Ashley Eckstein right after that.
Oh,
And that was when you started to come out of it. And of course, you were very happy to meet Ahsoka, the voice of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
You were completely gone.
Just gone.
Gone. I was like, maybe we should take her to the medic. And your mom's like, no, she'll be all right in a little bit. And then what was it? Your mom? That one was just dirty.
What?
I knew then she got you on Space Mountain.
Was that same trip?
It sure was. It was the next day.
Oh, okay.
Because I go, does this go upside down and stuff? Because I'd never ridden Space Mountain to that point. She goes like, no, it's fine. But you did much better that time. You screamed and you were mad, but you at least came off of it and you were talking.
Shout out Mom, because who knows if I would have ever been able to ride a roller coaster.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, had like 2 big exposure therapy experiences.
Trauma experiences. Well, you know, and to top that story off, when we went to Disneyland Paris, you and your friend Dee Dee rode Rock and Roller Coaster like 20 times in a row or something crazy. So, maybe, like you said, if it wasn't for your mom,
Mhm.
do
I think I got a little bit of, like, the Gen X child
Yeah, seriously.
experience.
Trial by fire.
Mhm.
So your pick is Big Thunder Mountain.
Mhm, yeah, nowadays, yeah.
What?
I think, though, as a kid, like, there's probably a million different answers. I loved Splash Mountain and
Mm,
Star Tours, I think really sticks out to me. I'm trying to think if any I don't really remember ever going on the rides because when I went back in middle of college and we tried to ride as much as possible, and we did go in the true Magic Kingdom ride area where they have the Peter
mm.
Pan,
We wrote
like
Peter Pan before.
see, but I never remember doing that as a
Uh,
kid. So what's weird to me is that was probably the section of the core Disney
mhm,
stuff, but
yeah.
that doesn't really stick out in my
I
childhood.
can't believe you didn't bring up Haunted Mansion.
Oh,
My
Haunted
favorite.
Mansion's good, but
That's probably my favorite, that and, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates. I think Pirates is probably a favorite for sure for me.
Yeah, that's my number 1 and number 2.
Mostly just the smell, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about the
I think
smell.
it comes from me being an adult, and then you get to sit down and chill
Chill.
on both of those rides.
I feel like maybe this is weird, but the temperature of sitting in the Pirates of the Caribbean boat is super memorable because it's
Yeah,
like it feels like you have AC just blasting
yeah,
on you because you're supposed to feel you're kind of in a cave
yeah.
situation.
I think another one of my favorites for the same reason is the Three Caballeros. Is that in Epcot?
I think so.
It's another little ride where you're just chilling.
Yeah. I never got to go back as an adult, but I do remember that one as a kid being so stunned by I think there's a part where there's a volcano, and it looks like there's smoke coming
Yeah,
out of the volcano, and the smoke is making shapes and
yeah.
stuff. So to this day, that feels so whimsical.
It was a whole backdrop
It looks
because
more like magical,
because
I
if you
guess.
remember in Three Caballeros, it goes around the restaurant,
Yeah.
and there's that big backdrop of the volcano, and it changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That still feels super magical to me because 'cause I've never seen it as an adult, but I remember being stunned by it as a kid.
It's done by
Yeah. We wanna talk about Disney animatronics and the Disney magic.
I w
Imagineering.
Imagineering. Remember when, we went back and we rode one of my favorites.
Oh gosh.
What was that called?
Are you talking about the one with the Yeti?
Yeah,
Mount
uh,
Everest? It's like Adventure Everest or
or some
something
yeah,
like that?
but you freaked out on that one.
Even though I have come somewhat around to roller coasters, I still cannot do the ones that are super high outside. Big Thunder Mountain is fine because it feels you're kind of on flat ground the whole time and you're outside, and I think that that's really cool. But Mount Everest, or even when you see the roller coasters at Six Flags and stuff that are just like the coaster and they're like way super high up,
I
nope, that's a no.
I like those way more than the inside. The inside ones, I just feel like all that's happening is I'm getting jerked around.
Yeah, I don't feel that
But
way.
yeah, you Expedition Everest, I think is what it's called. And because and then you come to that stop and
Oh
fall
my gosh,
backwards.
I remember to this day the fear of, like, coming to that stop and the, like, railroad looks like it's, like, torn
Broke,
off.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
no.
there's that
And then you
wall
just start to, like, go
backwards.
backwards.
Yeah.
Nope, I
Well,
hated
you sit
that.
there for a second, and then all of a sudden you start to creak, and then you're
Yeah,
just gone.
uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's a no.
That's what gotta be one of my favorites too. I love that.
That's crazy.
It's cr
You know what? I would love to see the, Tiana's Bayou thing that they have because
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what
because they
Splash
replaced
Mountain.
Mouse Mountain, yeah.
Yeah, I really would like to see that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Splash Mountain was always cool,
Mhm.
for sure, classic. I would tell people this too, it's also not just about the rides, it's about the experiences, and
Yeah. The
it's
food, the parades, fireworks, if you're into that,
yeah,
meeting the
yeah,
princesses
meeting all the
and
different characters.
characters, yeah.
I will tell you personally, Ruka knows this to be true, I'm worse than any kid there
That's
when it
so
comes to
true.
meeting characters.
That's so true. You get way too excited, I think, for for an adult to be meeting some
Yeah.
characters.
Remember, because I was even willing to wait in line for Anna and Elsa,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
guys weren't.
Oh, and I remember still to this day as a kid, it was that same trip, where we went and we met Tinkerbell,
Yep.
and you were so excited to meet
Yeah.
Tinkerbell, and, like, I could like, low-key see kinda the fear on this, like,
Oh, stop.
actress's face. I was
Stop.
like, "Oh god."
You mean a cast member?
Yeah.
I think
That's
you're being a little extra new.
I don't know. I don't know. It was a little awkward.
Pretty
And I
cool.
remember, like, telling my friends after too when we got home.
Cool.
Like, my dad was so excited to see Tinkerbell.
Well, if you also remember that time, it was right about the huge selfie craze time.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I was running around taking selfies with every character.
Yeah, that era of time was crazy. Like, you had to get as many of, like, the craziest, silliest photos as possible, and I remember you had the photo too where you're like, I think
Getting
you're getting
choked out
choked
by
out by
Darth
Darth
Vader.
Vader.
Well, my favorite one is the one where I with Chip and Dale,
Yeah.
and they're like mugging the camera with me, and I'm squished in there.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's my all-time favorite. We did the character dining.
Yeah, 'cause we have a few with, like, Donald Duck and that
Daisy.
gang too.
You know, you're a fool saying I'm stalking Tinkerbell.
I didn't say you were stalking Tinkerbell, I think she was just a little, like, weirded out by the situation.
You're ridiculous. Remember too, though, how it was set up? That was pretty cool.
Kinda like
Hey,
Pixie Hollow.
I know, but like, thing was huge to make
Mhm.
her look tiny.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Remember, you go in that one part, and you go from princess to princess to. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Veruca, I would like to hear your thoughts because we can't talk about Disney without talking about Disney adults.
Oh gosh. You know, there is obviously a pretty big group of people who really love to hate on Disney adults,
Hmm.
but I think I'm kind of let them just do
Yeah.
what they wanna do. I don't really care. I do get a little weirded out when I see the video there's a certain group of them that are really kind of just obnoxious in their character,
Mm.
and they, like, post a bunch of videos online. There's that group that I don't really like.
Not at the park, 'cause you can't do that at the park because they have limits to how you can dress in the park and how close.
Oh, no, 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 no. Not talking about like, costuming,
Oh,
just more
okay.
of their personality. They're really
Okay.
obnoxious. They film themselves in the park and yeah, they just seem they'd be kind of annoying people. But otherwise, I don't really like have a strong opinion towards the whole idea of Disney adults.
For me, it's like, okay, there's worse things they could be into
Yeah,
for
that's true.
for sure. And if they got that kind of
Moolah.
moolah, then go for it, I guess,
Yeah.
because it is super expensive. And I do think that's a shame. I do think normal people have been priced out of Disney.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know that I could afford to go back now, and because prices have gone up, and of course, being military, we get a huge discount, and we're
Mhm.
able to stay like shades of green and get these huge discounts. Like,
Mhm.
so we couldn't have went before probably,
Yeah.
and it's only gotten worse. It's just crazy to me because I've seen TikToks now. It's almost $3,000 a day to even to do everything. When you add in tickets for your family, and that's even staying at like one of the budget ones, like Pop Art or whatever.
Yeah.
They have the
The
different
sports
tiers. Yeah,
ones
the
and stuff.
sports one.
Yeah.
And I will say this though, in Disney's defense, when we went a couple times, it was a ton of money, but at the same time, I never felt like I got ripped off.
Mm.
Because I've done other things, been to other parks, Six Flags, whatever,
Mhm.
and I've spent money, and I'm just like, this was
I think what's
crap.
interesting about it is you can kind of choose the experience you get based off of how much you're willing to pay. There is kind of an affordable way to go to Disney, which
Hmm.
is just buying the ticket and showing up, not staying on property, of
Sure.
course, and whatever. And obviously, you're getting a lot of different
Well,
experiences
yeah.
than like buying the whole package deal. I will give credit to Disney in that regard of there are different ways that you can go about it.
And then I will give credit to them just for the way they keep the magic and the links they go to, which I've always found very interesting as a business pursuit. And unfortunately, when we went to Disneyland Paris, it is not the same for
Mhm.
anybody out there that wants to go to Disneyland Paris unless they've changed things.
I
Uh,
know they are working on, like, several things right now, like building new lands and stuff.
well, I meant just the general. magic at Disney. We were doing the rope drop for It's a Small World
Mhm.
in Disneyland Paris, and literally people are smoking in line
But
right
that's
next
not,
to
like,
me.
cast members, that's just, like,
I know, but still, you can't
you
get
can't go to Disneyland Paris and not and
uh,
expect to not, be greeted by Europeans.
well, I mean, still, I've seen them smoking on rides. They were smoked on that train that went around that weird little land.
Yeah.
It was and I smoked at the
Could
times.
you imagine if Disneyland Paris had the same rules as actual, like, Disney World of they have their secret smoking
Yeah.
spots and
Well,
stuff?
that's what I mean. They should because it keeps that professional, it keeps that magic. It
I
makes Disney
guess.
Disney.
I guess. But would it though? Because at the same time, you gotta think everybody who's going to Disneyland Paris is European. As you're saying, every kid's parent has to go and drag them to a place for them to take a smoke break, basically, every
Well,
5
no,
minutes,
I
you
mean,
know?
come on, you can make it a day or so. Something. Get some gum, get some Zen. I don't know. Do it up. But yeah, I that was one thing that was definitely kind of a and that and everything was broken all the time. But yeah, that and I
Agreed.
think that was very important because that was something that Walt Disney himself and the company has always prided themselves on.
Mhm.
Is the cleanliness and keeping the magic alive. That's why they have all these rules
Mhm.
for cast members and rules in the park.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way to go about it to protect the brand. I will say though, one thing I've always loved. Brooke has probably heard me say this. My favorite quote came from one of my favorite quotes came from Walt Disney himself.
Okay.
He always said it all started with a mouse.
Mm. Mhm.
Because I take that quote as the mouse is how they built everything else. And that is the core. So it kind of reminds you to always go back to what your core is, what you do. I run ultra marathons,
Mhm.
and sometimes I can create content for ultra marathon running and all that good stuff, right? But if I don't go out and run, it's meaningless.
Yeah.
And those type of things. Or, I could write a book, but if I don't stick to writing and improving the craft, what's the point? And I
Yeah.
think I see people in the real world sometimes do get carried away with these other things. What do you think?
I think that's true. When you were saying all of that, I was thinking about like what that might look like for Disney if they were to like kind of lose their focus.
Mhm.
And for me, I look like just spiraling down like this even bigger capitalist like
Yeah.
rabbit hole. And it made me think of have you ever seen the Santa Claus? I think it's the third movie. It's either the second or the third movie when Jack Frost, like, takes over the North Pole and he, like, turns it into this whole theme
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
like, to sell junk. Yeah, that's where my mind went. That it was gonna be like
Well, some people will argue that's what they've done,
yeah,
especially with all their acquisitions.
and so I was gonna say too, do you think that I don't know, maybe that they have lost the mouse, especially with the acquisitions is what I think of
Yeah.
when I think of them getting lost now.
Yeah, I think they've lost the plot a little bit. But the problem is with anything in capitalism, of course, is if you're not continuously growing, you're dying.
Mhm.
If your business is not bringing in new business, creating new streams of revenue, it will die.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the unfortunate part. So I feel like because they did lose a lot of money too there for a while, and then they brought back Bob Iger,
Mm.
the CEO, and he started cleaning some things up, getting rid of some stuff. Because again, to your point, they had lost some of the core because they started cutting some of the stuff from Disney Plus that they were making. Because they went through a phase, especially with Marvel, where they were making quantity, not quality.
Yeah.
And that was one of his big things when he came back was, okay, we're going to make quality, not quantity. And I think when you get caught up in making quantity, it's when you kind of lose the plot a little
Okay.
bit. Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
straying from where you are.
That makes sense.
You could argue that, of course, we're Star Wars fans about the trilogy or the sequel trilogy, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
That whole mess, in my opinion, they
Yeah.
really lost the plot there because they can do quality when you look at Andor
Right.
and Rogue One. It's tough, but yeah, they probably have a little bit for sure
Mhm.
with all the acquisitions
Hmm.
and all the different things they're trying to do and incorporate. They're even, redoing the parks because we gotta add an Avatar world, a Star Wars world, a Marvel's
Right.
campus,
Mhm.
so yeah, where is the mouse?
Yeah.
And people, I think, do kind of forget about that.
Them kind of doing something wrong with the parks or the way that they're expanding. I'm shocked to see that they have not found a new location yet, right?
Yeah.
Like they keep on expanding Disney World and these Disneylands, but they aren't adding as many new locations. Especially look at Universal right now.
Mhm.
They're about to build out here in Texas. They just did a location out in Vegas.
Did they?
And yeah, it's more of a like smaller
Okay.
location, the haunted house thing that
Mm.
they're doing out there, and I think they have some more plans. They even did Epic Universe, which is, I
Yeah.
think, a different park in Orlando.
Yeah, it's in Orlando, yeah.
I think that they should do something more like that,
I kinda disagree again. I would disagree simply for the fact if we're arguing they need to stay at the core is Disney World and Disneyland.
but I think that they can
Because
find.
they've added
Yeah,
Shanghai, De
yeah,
Tokyo.
okay, that's fine. I d Tokyo and Disney Sea have been around for a little while. There's 2 locations in Japan.
Mhm.
And then, of course, Shanghai and Hong Kong,
Yeah, and Paris.
and Paris.
But there was talk that they were actually going to abandon Paris.
I could see
Yeah.
that. I guess what I'm saying is a new location in the United States. And especially what is, I think, even more interesting is they have grown this big Disney Junior thing. And I think maybe even that's where the mouse is now. Um, and Disney Junior is really popular. Like, why do they not have a Disney Junior park?
But, okay, you're saying that because you live right down the road for where they're building Universal Kids Resort. So now you want a Disney Junior park right down the road too? Get you a job?
They'll be like right next door to each
Each
other,
other, I
like
know,
in
in
Orlando.
Orlando.
Honestly, I feel like they should do something more like West.
Yeah.
I feel like that would go. They should go to Branson.
No, they should not.
Could you imagine? Or they can move out by Dollywood.
Dolly.
In,
That's Pigeon Forge
is
area?
it in Branson?
No, well, she has the Dixie Stampede and stuff.
Okay, I think I was
Yeah,
thinking of Dixie Stampede
that's in
because that's in
Branson,
like
but
Tennessee, right?
no, that's in
What's in
Branson. She
Tennessee?
has Pigeon Forge, but I think she sold it, and that's where Dolly World is.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, yeah, they should go somewhere in the Midwest.
No, the Midwest won't work because of the weather.
Oh, is that why like Disneyland is in Anaheim and
Yeah,
Disney World is in?
Florida. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's the weather. That's why you probably see the Kids World here
In
in
Frisco.
North in Dallas is because it's still warmer here
Yeah.
than in most other places.
Hmm.
Because I can tell you right now, I have on the weather app, I have like Indianapolis because that's where I grew up. I always have Milwaukee,
Yeah.
and I have my parents in Kentucky, and I always scroll through the weather. I always scroll through the weather. It's not even close who the warmest are. We're like always in the 70s, and they'll be like 30 and heavy snow. So
Yeah.
it probably won't work as well.
I guess that's true.
I
Maybe
mean,
they should go down
actually,
to.
I know where they should go.
No, I know where they should go. I thought about this. What are you gonna say?
Phoenix.
Arizona? Oh, that's an idea.
Hmm.
Man, if they go out there, they have to have High School Musical thing because like New Mexico,
Mm.
Albuquerque area. But I was gonna say they should go down to like Galveston, Corpus Christi because they already have the Disney Cruise Line.
That one would be a tougher sell, I think, because of the hurricanes.
Yeah, but what makes that any more different than being Orlando?
Orlando is still in the middle. It's still buffered. It's not getting a storm surge. If you go down to Galveston, Corpus Christi, you're going to get storm surge.
I would say they could move into Houston, but I think that
Oh,
would be a mess.
yeah. No.
That would be a mess. Phoenix is a good call, actually.
Phoenix or maybe Vegas, actually.
Yeah, Vegas has a room for the
And
development.
it has nicer weather.
And
We're there.
they- Yeah, exactly. We have bad luck with Vegas weather. Yeah, I think even like Santa Fe or Albuquerque along the same lines as your Phoenix idea would be.
I would be crazy if they did it like Santa Fe. I just don't see them going into New Mexico. That'd be wild.
Why?
Because nobody goes to New Mexico. That's the thing. I mean, it's space. It's nice.
Oh, I guess I don't see like
Not slamming
Phoenix
New Mexico, people.
I guess I don't see like, Phoenix and Santa Fe and Albuquerque as like any
Oh
different.
my, you're way wrong.
I've never been to Arizona.
Phoenix is ginormous. Phoenix
Mm.
is huge. So and growing. It's because of the weather, of course.
They should go to Amarillo.
Amarillo. right across the street from the Big Texan. I don't know about Amarillo either.
They can
They
just,
got plenty of land out
they
there.
can just absorb the Big Texan, and the Big Texan can become part of like their dining plan.
Oh,
Imagine
yeah,
like
there you go.
Mickey's Wild West
That's,
Stampede in the
yeah,
Big
in
Texan.
the Big 72.
Yep.
Okay, sidetrack. All right, let's get into the crossover here.
Okay.
Brooke, why don't you lead us off? You were supposed to watch Aladdin.
Literally just watched.
I had to watch it again for the second time this week. Why don't you talk about Aladdin?
Why did you watch it already this week?
Because I wanted to remember things. I actually prepared for this podcast.
Okay. I did not need to rewatch Princess and the Frog. I already watched that 2 times in the last 12 months. So, I mean, for me, I think we have a good set of movies to compare for this episode's crossover, because we have Aladdin and we have The Princess and the Frog, which of course are both Disney princess movies. And for us, I think they're both kind of our favorite Disney princess movies, I would say.
Yep.
So, yeah, Aladdin. Aladdin, I was never really a big fan as a
What?
kid. Yeah, yeah. I don't think I
Aladdin was
honestly,
my favorite.
as a kid, like growing up really young, especially when we were still in our VHS era, I don't think I even understood what was going on. And so Aladdin was not there was no way for me to comprehend what was
Sure.
happening. And then I remember when The Princess and the Frog came out, saw it in theaters, and it's still one of my favorites. I think before Princess and the Frog came out, my favorite was Pocahontas, and then
What about Milan?
no, Mulan was never really a favorite. I think runner-up was probably The Little Mermaid, Ariel, because redhead, of course.
But anyways, you
Okay,
were supposed to be
Aladdin.
telling us about Aladdin.
Aladdin. I mean, do I really have to like explain the plot of Aladdin?
No, just tell us what are your thoughts, feelings.
Well, that was like part of what I was already saying. And it just wasn't really my favorite as a kid. I don't think it's necessarily as stimulating as some of the other Disney movies. You don't have a whole ton of a lot going on. My favorite scene though is the scene where he's like coming through the town and he has his whole circus of animals and that.
Fabulous
So
heat, fabulous heat, Alibaba. See, that's what I'm saying. Aladdin is nothing but bangers.
No, see, and I can't agree with that statement. I think that it has really good tracks, but it is not the best Disney soundtrack,
Yes.
especially for the
Yes,
Disney
it is.
princesses.
Yes, it is.
Not the best. Princess and the Frog is the best Disney soundtrack.
Okay, let's back up a second.
It's pure art.
How do you feel? Did you notice a lot of things that they might not get away with today?
Yes, I was gonna say I have 2 kind of answers to this. Number 1, culturally, I was kind of thinking about, I guess you could probably speak to this more so, about how would a child take in that when it came out? As in, were people understanding of that culture? Did they even know what was going on across seas?
Well,
Because
generally,
obviously in today's age, because we have the internet and social media and everything, I feel like we kind of comprehend other cultures a lot more. And so I'm kind of asking,
I got some thoughts and feelings on that
okay,
statement.
that's why I'm asking. What are
So,
your thoughts and feelings?
first of all, Aladdin came out in 1992. So even I was a little bit older when it came out, but I remember me and my niece, she's like a couple years younger than me, used to watch it on repeat all the time. And it was always kind of my favorite. You know, I love the songs.
I know, yeah.
And I think at the time, I never really thought about anything that was going on in it when it came to that. 1992 was right after the Desert Storm, Iraq War.
Yeah.
Kind of
I was gonna say, wasn't that like 1989-ish?
No, 1991 was Desert Storm. So that was the first Iraq War. And again, like you said, there wasn't internet, but the 24-hour news cycle had begun because of Desert Storm. So people were kind of seeing more of this. But I don't think they understand culture. And what I was going to say about your statement, even though now, of course, Afghanistan, back to Iran now, we're not going to get into all that.
Sure.
people love to think that they see stuff on the internet and they understand culture.
Okay.
I'm not the holier than thou, but at the same time, I've been, as you know, to lots of places in this world, and
Mhm.
seeing on the internet and hearing other people is not learning culture, no matter what you think you know
Mhm.
about a place or anywhere. It's not learning culture
I
until
guess
you're
I wouldn't
there.
say as much learning the culture, but exposed to it, like
Yeah,
seeing it visually.
yeah. I don't think people had it in that way. I probably never understood praise a lot.
I was gonna say, this go around of watching it, there were a lot of phrases that they used in the movie that I never noticed before, and I can't say that I ever, heard it prior and was like, "What does that mean?" Like, the very start of the movie, he says salam, which is,
Yeah,
like, their
greeting.
greeting, and yeah, the
But then
amount
you
of
got
times they say Allah too, they say it, like, 3
yeah,
times or more,
it's
so
more than that. Well, you also had the opportunity to live in a Middle Eastern country.
Mhm,
So again, you've seen more of the culture.
mhm.
And so you do understand it a little bit, and just you catch those things.
Ye
It is weird. We talked about this last week on the podcast about Taylor going back and re-recording things.
Mhm.
And I feel this way about a lot of things is that I like the idea that they kept it because it is a
Sure.
product of its time.
Yeah.
And when I don't know if they still did it, but when Disney Plus first started and they uploaded all these old cartoons,
Mhm.
they upload them unedited,
Yes.
like the stuff from Steamboat Willie, Mickey,
Yeah.
and Up, of course, which had things that we would definitely call racist nowadays, for
Mhm.
example, but they left that stuff up unedited,
Okay.
which I thought was cool because, again, it was a product of its time.
Mhm.
I think you need to see some of that to
Mhm.
understand. You could look at it and Aladdin and be like, "Oh, this is a bad stereotype."
Yeah, stereotypes or that it's, like, whitewashed, version of its culture, whatever
Yeah,
you wanna say, but
I don't know if it call it whitewashed as much as just a very bad some bad stereotypes
mhm.
but you've been to a bazaar. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean, it's obviously captures the stereotypes. I don't think that it what's weird about Aladdin is compared to Disney movies today, it's like it's a totally different way of capturing culture. I think
Mhm.
that Disney movies today, especially The Princess
We'll
and the
we'll talk
Frog,
about that.
is like it captures the culture in a more appreciative way,
Okay.
whereas Aladdin is more like they're
A
just capturing
cartoonish
it,
way.
yeah, to capture whatever they want, you
Yeah, a
know?
cartoonish way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna say you could make some arguments that at the same time, something like Aladdin might expose people to a culture, but you're probably right, and that's probably not the way you wanna expose them
Yeah.
to
Right.
something
Right.
because it is.
It's not appreciative of that culture. It's just kind of a silly gag
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. So, yeah, I can understand that, but I absolutely loved it. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Do you like it now?
I like it now, but I still think that it's just not really one of the best Disney princess movies. What's actually funny is there was a TikTok trend floating around here recently. There was Jasmine is nobody's favorite Disney princess, and then there were girls
Mm.
being like, "Jasmine is my favorite Disney princess. I was the unloved Jasmine loving girl," and I think that's really funny.
Maybe that could be racism, though. Is anybody yelling that Mulan is their favorite?
Yeah. A ton of people, yeah, because Mulan, I think, is just so unique in her character that
Yeah,
she very much was the tomboy Disney princess. So
sure.
if you were a tomboy girl growing up,
But
you'd
nobody like
obviously
Merida.
Merida is just kind of a weird.
I think out of all the princesses, you would have to argue that they gave Jasmine a little better arc than a lot. Jasmine actually was making her own choices and not doing things just to do things.
A lot of the other Disney princesses, though.
No.
Mulan.
Okay, Milan, we know. But
Merida.
take the worst probably of all, but Ariel.
I think Ariel has a strong motive, and you can question the reasoning behind her motive, but obviously the whole movie is about her being very much like wants to explore above the water.
Um, no, but then again, they make it at the end about her wanting this guy. Jasmine was not about that. She wanted her own thing. She didn't care about these princes at all.
It wasn't that she didn't care about the princess as much as she just wanted to marry for love.
Right.
Is I think what I think it gets I guess what I'm saying about that is that sometimes I think that Jasmine's motive gets misconstrued as people say that she's the Disney princess who just wanted to be a queen kind of thing,
What?
but it's
What?
like,
Who said that?
no,
That's
because
crazy.
people do say that, and
That's
it's like
crazy.
exactly, because that's not true. She says in the movie that she wants to marry for love,
We'll get to somebody who wants to marry just
and
to be a
obviously it's
princess or a
also
queen here in a
uh-oh.
second. I thought Jasmine was more level-headed than a lot of them, to be honest. So
I can agree with that. That's fine.
I have no problem
That's
with
fine.
Jasmine compared to some of them, because the others just at some point, especially
That's
some of the older ones.
yeah, sure. What's really interesting actually to me about Jasmine is that they kind of establish early on in the movie that she wants her freedom, right?
Yep.
And she's like, she wants to go out and explore outside of
Yeah, exactly.
the palace grounds and stuff. But at no point in the movie do they like come back to that and resolve it, you know?
Well, they
Because
do
we
because
find
no, because Aladdin takes her on the magic carpet ride. They go to China.
yeah, but the most out of touch way you could ever see the world, that's the equivalent to taking a private jet and looking down above the poor people.
Like your girl Taylor Swift does.
Anyways, because they show her she goes into the town and she goes through the bazaar and she literally steals food for another child and doesn't pay for it.
Yeah,
And she's
because
just
she's
like, yeah, the Sultan, yeah, I'll go back to the palace and ask the Sultan for money. And at no point they ever go back and resolve that to show that she has any sort of ability to be a normal, upstanding citizen.
well, that was part of what they were trying to illustrate in that scene is that she was so closeted and she didn't know how the real world works.
Yeah.
Have you read about, Brittany just got a DUI and it all started because she was at home trying to find out how to adopt a big child from Iran on Amazon.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, that's
That's what I mean. Some people are so out of touch.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think early on in the movie they established that Jasmine is out of touch and she doesn't want to be, but then they never come back and resolve that because by the end it's just okay, she marries
Aladdin, who's a commoner.
yes, and he moves into the palace and they just kind of continue. It's like Aladdin gets to live the high life now, but Jasmine is still out of touch
So
the
he's
same
going to
way
become
she
Sultan
was.
and he's going to keep her behind the palace walls. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know, man. They just never come back to that.
They made 2 more, I think. I never seen any of them, but
I've never seen the second one.
okay, moving on.
Moving on.
Let's talk about Princess and the Frog. Now, Princess and the Frog, I have no problem with. I like Princess and the Frog. I think it's one of the better movies Disney's put out in a while. I mean,
Mm.
I was shocked to see when you told me that you wanted to use Princess and the Frog. I thought that was more recent, so it came out 2009, right?
Mhm,
Yeah,
2009.
I was shocked it was that long ago.
I know, it feels like it wasn't that long ago for me either.
I do think it was one of their better ones. I think it's more intriguing and more interesting. Wait, I got to back up a second.
Okay.
I forgot one part in Aladdin that I never caught till today.
Okay.
During that song, his song about Ali Ababa,
Uh-huh.
it says he's got servants and slaves.
Yes. Mhm.
I'm like, what? I've never heard that before. But then again, we don't know what time this took place because there's been a lot of argument at when it took place over the years. Is it old? Is it in the future? Mm-hmm.
Wait, the story of Aladdin?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's old because they're talking about him being the Sultan. It
But
has its own
but at the same
era.
time, Genie is doing spoofs on TV shows. He's got a goofy hat.
Oh, I've always watched the movie as okay, this took place way back in the day, but the genie kind of has his own timeline. He's kind of this weird interdimensional character that lives in the past and the future at the same
Oh,
time.
okay, maybe.
That's
Yeah,
kind of
but
how
I've seen
always
things like it took
taken
place
it.
in the future after like this dystopian thing.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Not the Disney conspiracy
yeah,
theorists.
because he has the goofy hat. He does all the Jack Nicholson and
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, we're back to Princess and the Frog.
Okay.
I had to add in the slave thing real quick because
Okay.
I forgot about that and I'd never seen it till today. Never noticed it till today.
Okay.
Princess and the Frog, right? So at first, I got to think about this movie and I was watching now. I guess I never really paid attention or really thought deep about when this was taking place. But you see straight away in the paper when Tiana's young that it takes place Woodrow Wilson was elected, and he was elected in 1913, I think I looked it up.
Okay.
1913, give or take. So it
Mhm.
would have been, the majority of it takes part during the Roaring '20s,
Mhm.
which you
Yeah.
see the flapper dresses and that
Mhm.
kind of stuff going on. So it was a very different America at that point in time, and they did kind of illustrate that.
Mhm.
So there are some things I would look at initially and be like, man, what the heck? But at the same time, they're kind of riding that thin line. I know we talked about on this podcast before in movies when they tried to do that, like in Stranger Things, how far are we going to go with social commentary
Yeah.
and how far are we going to go with the truth of the era
Yeah.
and that. And I think they rode that line a little bit,
Mhm.
quite a bit.
Sure.
Because I think there was some things that happened in the movie that would have went different if it was in 1920.
Right.
Um, so it is interesting. I think it's kind of good to see. Again, it wasn't cartoonish, like you said. It wasn't a spoof or anything like that,
Mhm.
having fun. It was more grounded
Mhm.
in the culture and everything. I do think there was some things that were very interesting because when you watch, I think straight away, they're at Charlotte's house, right? And her mom is a seamstress. Tiana's mom
Tiana's mom, yeah.
is a seamstress, and obviously she's working class because at first you kind of get servant vibes.
Yeah, are they in-house
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff?
type deal. Can you make her this dress immediately? But of course, they go home to what would be all these little homes in a
Yeah.
row in that
Like,
neighborhood.
it's almost its own, like, in a neighborhood of New Orleans, but I don't know what you would have called that at the time.
I don't know what you would call it either. I hate now. I could use some terms, but I don't know if they're the right terms. But it was very sectioned off, right?
Mhm.
Because the only people living in those houses were appeared to be African American families,
Mhm.
the community and everything. So I thought that was interesting because I know those kind of things happened,
Mhm.
but I think we could explain some of that better. Maybe I'm thinking
But, yeah, I think
it's
it's,
kids
like it
movie.
goes back to, like, what you were saying, the Stranger Things of they recognize their audience, and they're like, "Okay, we're kind of represented it without discussing it."
But that but think about it from this point of view. Young white girl watching this, right?
Sure.
And she watches it. Now she could be led to think a certain way.
What if that movie thinks that
That her mom was a servant of the white girl.
I guess, but I don't know, that's hard to say, hard to discuss because
And the white guy,
I think
the
it was
dad,
more
Big
like
Daddy, drives around in this big car, and but we always see the black people on the trolley,
yeah.
which
Mhm.
might have been true at the time, but it's just, I don't think it's bad. Just some interesting things I like to think about sometimes.
I think that where they kinda make a choice too with
So,
Charlotte and Big Daddy
mhm.
in a way that they appreciate Tiana and her mom is more the way that it should be, and so I think that that's their way of dealing with it. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
okay,
they do
she's
kind of show.
providing this service, but they're not treating her like a lower
I
class,
think
right?
they're
They're
trying to
just,
get
like,
us to
trying
overlook it
to
through Tiana and Charlotte's friendship,
right.
is what I really
Sure.
think they're trying to do.
Okay. Sure.
Because they show them not as best friends later in life or through
Right.
life, rather.
Right.
And I think that's how they're trying to get through it. But, my question comes back to me in my mind when I watch that.
Hmm.
Why didn't they just buy a damn restaurant for it or contribute?
That's true. That's true. I guess they don't really fully explain this part. The 2 guys that are at the
Yeah, the
costume party,
Finners,
yeah, what are they, like, real estate agents? Are they landowners? Because I'm
real
talking
estate
about, like,
agents, I guess.
they allude to it in the movie that they were connected to Tiana through, like, Charlotte's family because they were supposed to be working with Tiana to, like, help her get her restaurant, and then remember at the party, they're like, "Oh, it's not gonna work out."
Yeah, it is at the party they tell her because she wanted to sign the papers at the party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's why she, like, runs upstairs upset. I feel like that was kind of, like, their way of
maybe.
helping her
But
out.
again,
But if you're led to believe by Tiana that she's not going to accept favors, because established
then
early on that she's very much she wants to work for
everything she
what
got.
she gets. Yeah.
Right, and because another thing I thought was problematic, going back to the the Mardi Gras party, right, was you pay your best friend, to work at your party.
Yeah, that's true.
They wanted
Using
you
'cause
her
they
to
were like
come bring and serve these beignets rather
yeah,
than be
she
there
brings
as a
in the
guest.
beignets, yeah.
Um, so maybe you're right. Maybe they had tried off screen and she's just like, nope, I want to build it on my own.
Yeah.
But it does show a difference in upbringing and character. Do you relate more to Tiana or Charlotte?
Yeah, that's not a question I'm gonna answer because I don't know, like, how to even start with that one.
You
But
believe on hard work or
I'm
wishing
also
upon a star?
probably wishing upon a star. That's a good point. But also, I wanted to go back to your comment about them not helping her. Because remember when Charlotte and Big Daddy come into Tiana's restaurant and Big Daddy literally shoves a wad of cash to Tiana and she didn't want to accept it at first.
No, Charlotte did that. She grabbed it out of Big Daddy's jacket.
Oh, yeah, okay. You know what I mean, though. They give her the cash and Big
Because she was
Daddy's
like, is this
laughing.
enough?
Yeah.
But if they had it like that, why didn't they just do this from the beginning?
Because I think that scene shows exactly what would happen in that scenario because Tiana's like, she doesn't really want to take it. And then she is forced to accept it in that situation. And I think that that's kind of like their way of trying to help her out as much as they can.
After they go back and they say, well, the Finners or whoever their names is, the real estate guys, they were like, well, a person of your background,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and there they were probably not just for being a woman or being
Yes.
poor, but also being black.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of interesting topics and ways to look at it
Yeah.
through there. And
Like, I think they did the best they could to address all of those, to have as much social commentary as they could without it being inappropriate for a kids' movie.
yeah,
Still. And I think that they did a really good job too of like appreciating and representing the culture rather than just being like gimmicky about it.
yeah, definitely that. But continuing on in the movie, we haven't got anywhere in the movie.
Okay.
They bring in Prince Naveen.
Mhm.
And one thing I thought was interesting was he was a dark-skinned man.
Mhm.
You don't really know his background, Maldonia, wherever that's supposed to be.
Not a real place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we don't really know his background, and I again think logically about this, and I'm going, well, in the 1920s, if a white blonde girl also wants to marry a dark-skinned man and be princess, I still don't think that would have worked out very well.
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting in the end he does end up marrying Tiana. And then we have the
Voodoo Man? Oh.
Shadow Man.
He has like all kinds of different names. I don't know that he necessarily has like one.
Um, he was kind of funny. I watched him and I'm like, man, this is so reminiscent of something. And you know what it was? He get
Dr.
Facilier, but no, they call him the Shadow King or
Yeah,
the
the Shadow Man,
yeah, the Shadow
the
Man.
voodoo guy. Yeah.
So
Doctor.
he gave me massive Oogie Boogie vibes.
Yeah. I guess that's, yeah.
When he does his like song, it's just like Oogie Boogies.
Because it's like that, like, classic villain
Yeah.
mannerisms,
Like,
yeah.
I meant to look it up and see if it was even voiced by the same people because it kind of felt like it was.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, he's cool. I like him. Get into the voodoo.
Mhm,
That was fun. And then he turns him into a frog.
mhm.
Did you ever catch the first thing he says to Prince Naveen when they first meet, the Shadow Man? He says something about him being green immediately.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
like, is he?
Because they can kind of, like, see the future. Not, like, necessarily see the future, but, when you're, like, more intuitive,
I don't even know if it's
sensitive
that or if
to
it
it.
was just his plan in his head and he's just foreshadowing
Mm,
it. But it was like the first things he said to him. Then they take that deal and Lawrence prays him
yeah.
with the Shadow Man. And then they go on the big adventure. We meet Louis.
Mhm,
I like Louis.
mhm.
He's
Louis my
pretty
favorite.
he's pretty cool. And then Raymond,
Mhm,
who's really the heart of the movie
mhm.
in a lot of ways. And how did you feel about them coming together and falling in love as frogs?
Why is that a question? Like,
Well, it's just weird.
I don't think so because they're both frogs. I guess I've never even considered that about that being a topic of discussion. Like, that's just, yeah, I don't know because obviously the movie is a take on the actual classic story, The Princess and the Frog, right? And in the book they're reading at the very start of the movie,
Yeah.
in that book, sorry, with a princess who is a human falls in love with a frog,
Mhm.
right? And so isn't them being both frogs better than the original story?
Yeah, I guess.
I guess, especially when there's a part where they come to terms and they're just kind of like, "Well, we're both gonna be frogs for the rest of our
We're like
lives." Yeah.
I don't know, man. Somebody turns me into a frog, we ain't vibing. 'Cause he's the one that got Tiana turned into a frog.
Well, that's how they start off.
I know, but so he gets turned into a frog, obviously, by the Shadow Man,
Mhm.
but then he convinces Tiana to kiss him, so he
Mhm.
turns back into a prince,
Mhm.
but it turns Tiana into a frog, right?
Right.
And if I was Tiana, hell no, we done. You turn me into a frog?
That's how it was, remember?
Well, yeah, well, we done,
And
done.
then they fly away, they get lost, and then they are, like, super mad at each other for a while,
Well, no,
and then they're like, "Wait, we have to actually work together to
no,
get
there's no
ourselves
working
out of this
together on
situation because 'cause we're both in the same situation." And then they continue to do it, but, like, put up with you kind of situation until they eventually become friends out of it.
and lovers.
Yeah. What a weird way to say that.
I still, man, you do that to me, turn me into a frog, we done. We done. I would've left him to get eaten by those crocodile alligators, when she pulled him up from when
Yeah, you're
she's in the
funny.
tree.
You know what? So this is another good point. I really liked the part where because obviously at the beginning of the movie, you kind of just see like, okay, like rich white people, poor black people, right?
Mhm.
But then as they're going along the bayou, they encounter like white Cajun or
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Mhm.
which is cool because
Yeah.
it's like there's
Or
also,
poor white,
yeah,
redneck type guys.
hmm,
Or like you said, Cajun.
yeah, you can tell by their
Yeah.
accent that they're,
Cajun.
hmm.
Yeah. Turn me into a frog, we done, son. That's all I gotta say about that. And then we get to Mama Odie.
Hmm.
I like Mama Odie, she's cool. It was funny, so we're watching it last night, and, we'd seen it before, and Elise is like I can't remember what she said, but, like, it's funny because, I don't know, she doesn't really pay attention sometimes, but she was, like, saying something, and I was like, "No, that's not what she needs," because she kinda missed the point of Mama Odie's song about, like, they want to be human, but that's not what they need.
Hmm.
Like, she needed or he needed love in his life or whatever, right? As
Hmm.
opposed 'cause she's like, "I know what you want, but what do you need?" And I thought that was kinda interesting, the song and everything,
Hmm.
and then, just trying to illustrate the difference there,
Hmm.
that it wasn't just simple as we want to be human again.
Yeah. Another reason why the soundtrack of Princess and the Frog is
Oh,
like one of the best, the best Disney soundtrack there is,
no, wrong.
because every song is way more deep. The lyrics actually have deep meaning that you can like take into your actual life. What am I supposed to take from Prince Ali?
It's about me. You're well, I mean, come on
And
now.
slaves and servants.
But what am I supposed to take from Louis saying about being a gator playing the trumpet?
That he was ostracized from doing what he loved. Wow, I just don't get it. And Almost There, about her working hard
Mm,
and still having hope.
mhm.
Mhm, mhm.
I do think fast forwarding, get what was funny, what it was kind of sad actually. Louis had his prime time shot, man, and they ruined it for him.
Are you talking about when they're on the steamboat?
No, when they're on the float during Mardi Gras,
Oh, yeah.
because he fits in,
Yeah.
and they don't know he's a gator, but
Mhm,
he had to go get involved in their mess.
mhm. That's true.
That was such a bummer.
He had a tiny little moment
So why is it your favorite?
because I think, like, you get, like, such a good cultural representation, like, you are fully, like, transported to New Orleans
That's
in the
true.
1920s.
Mhm.
They, like, really capture that super well, and it's also just, like, a really good story, really good characters. I like that you see with, like, every Disney princess movie, they always have the princess, the prince, in whatever fashion that he comes in, and then some sort of animal best friend. In most Disney princess movies, you never see the princess have a true human relationship, friendship.
Oh,
Except for Princess and the Frog, Tiana is friends with Louis, Ray, and Charlotte, who's an actual human, and then you even see her group of friends that come in the restaurant, they invite her out to go party and whatever. And so I just like that you kind of get all of these different facets of relationships, both human and, like, still
that is an
not
interesting point. I've
human.
never noticed that, but they never have human friends.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like because
Like,
Ariel had
Tiana.
Sebastian and Flounder,
Right.
and Jasmine had Raja.
But you never see them have just a platonic friendship
Yeah.
with anything else than that's not non-human. Pocahontas has the little bird and, her raccoon.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's wild.
I guess she has her best friend in the beginning, I forget her name, the other girl in her tribe, but they kind of fall off, you barely see their
I
relationship.
mean, Snow White had the dwarfs,
Yeah, yeah, I guess.
but they weren't really, unfortunately, characterized as human, really?
That's true, and they also are a newer friendship,
And of course, Cinderella
easy
doesn't have friends.
relationship.
She's completely ostracized from her
Exactly,
family.
she just has the mice.
You know? Hmm.
Mhm.
Does Belle have friends? Oh, she has her dad.
She has her dad, and then she's completely ostracized by the whole town because
Yeah.
she's a weird girl,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess she has the friends at the castle, the dresser and the
Oh, yeah.
teacup and
Yeah, but
yeah.
not people. Well, they are people, but they're not people at that time.
Right. Like, you just see, like,
That's
very
crazy.
realistic human relationships in that movie.
They
Because you
do.
obviously have her
Well,
relationship with her dad, her relationship with her mom, the mom's relationship with Big Daddy and with Charlotte, Tiana's relationship with Charlotte, Lorenz and, Naveen,
mhm.
their relationship, and then you just kind of get all of it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I mean, Frozen.
Okay, that's no, because
Because
you
you have
don't
Anna and
really
Elsa,
see.
but then they fall out. But Anna
Right.
has Finn and what's his name?
The prince character once again and Sven, that's Sven is the,
Moose.
moose, yeah, and Olaf, the snowman,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Anna.
but
But then
Kristoff is the love
Krista.
interest, so it's not platonic.
But Elsa, she doesn't have really.
That's like yeah, but yeah, I will say Frozen is interesting because obviously you got a true sister relationship, and I think that that's one thing that made it a truly remarkable movie for Disney. Um, and even the villain in that movie is just very unique too. But yeah, I don't know. Also, the parent relationship in Princess and the Frog is unique. You don't really see a whole lot of like,
The parents.
especially I think in Disney movies, it's very rare that you see one, the parent relationship in general, but two, a healthy parent
Yeah, yeah, that's what I
relationship.
was gonna say. Where they're not locking them up or whatever, like the Sultan
Yeah.
with deciding who she's gonna marry.
And Merida, obviously, that whole movie is about the parent relationship, and it's starting off bad and then kind of like,
Yeah, and then because you had a relationship, obviously Tiana had with her father,
hmm
and then her mother, of course. And then
hmm
I guess the one is kind of weird and kind of not great is Charlotte's relationship with Big Daddy.
I don't know that their relationship is bad. It's not a toxic relationship, right, between each other. I mean, maybe there's some weirdness.
No, I won't say just because I think it's not healthy because he just gives her whatever.
Yeah,
That's what I'm.
yeah,
And she bosses him around.
yeah. But it's not like toxic.
Oh, because she's winning. Like our
I don't know.
relationship would be cool if you could boss me around.
How do you do that? What do you mean?
And then if I start bossing you around, you'd be like, nah.
But yeah, like it's like the least toxic
Yeah, definitely.
parent-child relationship. Princess Tiana and her parents.
But I do think it's interesting she actually had friends in the real world because nobody else does.
hmm
Why they do that? It's so weird. No, that's all I can think about.
Now you're just gonna think about it whenever you see a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, in Moana, of course, is, like, a more
Uh,
recent movie, but she doesn't have any friends. She's ostracized. I guess her grandma. I don't know. And, yeah, you just get so many different plots too, because you get Charlotte's plot of she's trying to be a princess, right? She gets picked for the big Mardi Gras parade, or I guess Big Daddy technically gets picked for the big Mardi Gras parade, so she gets to be there, and she's trying to like, be with Naveen, and then, you know, in the end, she kind of comes to terms with that not being her true love, and
mhm.
all of this. You just get so many different storylines, and then Ray
And
in love with
Evangeline
yeah, Evangeline.
and Louis wanting to play trumpet.
Yeah, there's just so much to it.
Okay, so let's wrap this up with how we feel, see it from different generations, right?
Okay.
Because we talked a lot about how obviously the one made earlier
Mhm.
could be, I won't say it's problematic, but it's definitely,
Not the best representation?
yes.
Okay.
A good, what's the best way to put it? They didn't even try. They just made a kind of would you say silly
Mhm.
movie?
Gimmicky,
Yeah.
goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of movie versus Princess and the Frog.
Mhm.
Which is, do you think that's because they feel that audiences are more intelligent, or is it just because of a new generation?
I think that it's definitely a new generation thing. I mean, you see it even more and more now that like they're making movies for Gen Alpha. Of we societally get more and more like socially progressive, of
Hmm.
course, and so they're trying to do like as much justice to these relationships and like history, I guess, and trying to like present as many people as possible and be as inclusive as possible. No, the era of like Princess and the Frog coming out was like kind of the sweet spot. I think now Disney is kind of starting to lose the way a bit. That's kind of just
Well,
my
no, they said
opinion.
now they're going to try to pull back
Yeah.
because people
Or
felt like they've lost the way.
yeah, exactly. And so I feel like we haven't quite seen them pull back just yet. I mean, it's interesting to see because we actually have Hoppers coming out this weekend, which is the new Pixar
Yep.
movie. And then of course Toy Story 5 will be coming out soon. So it'll be interesting to see kind of that shift. But I think Princess and the Frog, that era of Disney was where we kind of hit this sweet spot of being inclusive and appreciative. Whereas maybe before, maybe it wasn't so
Sure,
much, you know?
definitely. And then there's a period there where a lot of people felt like it's gone too far,
Yeah.
which, not everything has to be a social statement.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do in the future overall. I think you're right that Princess and the Frog is probably a pinnacle of how you can do it
Mhm.
and do it well. And maybe it gives a chance for the children to open up conversation with their parents
Mhm.
about what took place.
That's true, yeah.
Or maybe opens up the opportunity for a parent to have that conversation with the child,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, and try to educate them some. At least that's my hope. I don't. That's
Yeah.
my wish.
I think maybe watching movies for a child isn't exactly the space where they should be learning that kind of thing necessarily. They can kind of get exposed to a good baseline, but obviously in school and from parents, they should really be learning whatever is a topic.
It provides that open.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
otherwise, it's just kind of weird to just be, hey, let me tell you about 1920s New Orleans. Did I ever do that for you growing up?
Not until probably after Princess and the Frog.
Let me talk to you about
Yeah.
when a man loves a woman. Okay. All right. We're done. This has been From Vinyl to Viral. I'm Wes. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Veruca.
Make sure to like, share, follow, leave us some comments. What is your favorite Disney movie? Until next time, peace.
Peace.